In today's modern day and age, people are becoming more health conscious and are not just buying anything off the shelf without inspecting the source. Where does the meat come from? How are the vegetables and fruits grown? Are they genetically modified? Are the animals carefully cared for and looked after? Or have they been subjected to factory farming? It's incredibly important to understand the source of your food due to the fact they can have a huge effect on your health. Today, there is a great debate about traditional farming methods versus advanced farming. So, which one is better? In today's video, we're going to be discussing how and why old school farming is much better than advanced farming. But before we get into the video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit that post notification bell so you never miss another update from us. First, discussing the soil. Bill Gates has written that, quote, "We should discuss soil as much as we talk about coal. It takes nature approximately 1,000 years to generate such an inch of topsoil. Topsoil is responsible for 95% of all food, which is produced for human consumption. But it is very easy for humans to destroy topsoil. The use of industrial and chemical-heavy practices can end up wreaking havoc in no time. Soil scientists have estimated in 2014 that about a third of the world's topsoil was already lost, and by 2075, it could be completely gone. So it's time for people to start paying attention to the soil. Why are we talking about soil before discussing traditional farming? Well, because there is a big difference as to how the soil is treated in traditional farming versus advanced farming. So what is traditional or old school farming? Traditional farming can be redefined as the old style of farming. It uses indigenous knowledge, natural resources, traditional tools, organic fertilizer, and sometimes the farmer's cultural beliefs. It's worth noting that 50% of the world population does still use it today. What advantages does old school farming have to offer? Traditional farming, old school farming, or extensive farming has a simple concept that is easy for everybody to grasp. The animals are left to roam, graze at their leisure, and live life just like how nature intended it. With this method, there is no need to use chemicals or pesticides so that fields have high quality and the soil maintains its correct pH balance. In short, it has very little impact on the environment. This is very crucial for people who are conscious of where their food comes from, as they can be assured that the welfare of the animals is a top priority. Stock is raised on a natural diet in a large field instead of being penned in tight spaces. Traditional farming provides a more mindful way of consuming meat. Meat that has also been reared in such a way also has plenty of health benefits to offer. The meat has higher levels of vitamins, minerals, and omega-3s. This is primarily due to the fact that the animals have lived a natural life. Farming can also fall into two categories: extensive and intensive farming. Intensive farming is often associated with indoor farming. It focuses on accelerated growth and high yields in order to produce massive stock. The stock is then reared in confined spaces, but this does have downsides to the animal's health. Regular intervention is also needed in order to prevent disease among the stock, and a cocktail of medicines are also given to the animals regularly so as to stave off diseases. In order to cater to demands and accelerate growth, intensive farming can include the use of drugs and additives laced with growth hormones. In addition, intensive farming can also stimulate abnormal behavior in animals. On the other hand, extensive farming is a system of cultivation which uses limited inputs in terms of machinery, investment, and labor. Traditional methods are given preference, and productivity is based on the climate, along with the terrain of the land, as well as the natural fertility of the soil. It's often practiced on large farms in order to get higher yields and achieve profitability. Although total crop production is high, per unit production is quite low. Its greatest feature is that there is a minimum use of pesticides along with fertilizers so that it's more friendly to the environment. This is where cows are free to graze and pigs are free to play in the mud. Poultry also catch snails and earthworms. The fruits and vegetables are not sprayed and have the unique taste of real produce, which most of us have remembered as the taste of produce we get from the countryside. Animal welfare is something very important in organic farming. They don't use hormones or probiotics and are against the confinement and restraint of animals. Although there is still a lot of debate on whether everybody should return to old school farming, we know for certain that the future of farming is getting the attention of entrepreneurs all over the world. The two kinds of farming also had different effects on prices. Intensive farming results in lower food price due to the fact that crops are produced in massive quantities. The same farm can also be used to grow fibers as well as other resources, which do make it cost effective. On the other hand, extensive farming is used only for a single type of farming. This ends up making the cost of producing a single crop costly, which also leads to higher prices. How about the effects on the environment? Intensive farming has a negative effect on the environment due to the use of chemicals and pesticides. They run into rivers and also poison the land and air. This ends up rendering the environment unstable to its maximum capacity. Extensive farming frowns upon the use of chemicals and pesticides. This ensures that the correct pH balance is maintained and it doesn't lead to any any side effects on the environment. What about localization? Intensive farming is mostly carried out in farms that are close to the market. This is because the cost of transporting goods needs to be kept low. Keep in mind that the capital, as well as the cost of labor, is very high, so farmers employing this method must cut back on other areas. On the other hand, extensive farming is often carried out in places where there are great distances from local markets. Extensive farms are often found in places where there's less population, and this is due to the fact that the size of land has to be very large in order to produce greater yields. Large lands aren't cheap and are often at great distances from main markets to cut on the cost. However, as the population grows, we can't deny the fact that there is a need to produce more food. Farmers often have to do this with limited resources. This is why technology is used in order to improve agricultural yields. And in the future, the prospect of human involvement might disappear altogether. Without a doubt, farming has to be done for a sustainable future. Sustainable farming is the future and not the past. It's important to note that the successful farming societies, of which there are many all over the world, are not driven by profits, but instead they're governed by principles of resilience, and that is to survive and thrive even under certain conditions. However, many may say that you can't farm sustainability unless you're economically sustainable. That's true enough. However, then comes the subtle wrong turn, which is how people equate true economic sustainability with profitability. Experts state that the solution is right under our feet. The solution is in the soil. We need to adopt conservation practices whereby farmers can build rich, fertile soils that will produce robust crops while protecting, storing carbon, creating farms that are more resilient to a variety of weather, and protecting water resources at the same time. This will lead to a win-win situation for both the environment, farmers, and of course, us. We get to enjoy quality produce that's so fresh, nutritious, and flavorful. What are some of the new types of sustainable farming methods? There are also revolutionary ways of growing food nowadays, and a few great examples of aquaponics, aeroponics, and hydroponics. Let's go a little bit deeper. Hydroponics is an innovative farming method where the roots of plants are submerged in soil rich in nutrients. Big-name grocery stores such as Safeway have used hydroponics in growing herbs like oregano, basil, and parsley. Aeroponics is where you end up growing plants in midair. The National Aeronautics and Space Administration, or NASA, developed this innovative way of growing plants indoors. It can help to reduce water storage by more than 90%, fertilizer by 60%, and pesticides by as much as 100%. It does all of these and also maximizes crop yield at the same time. Aquaponics is farming plants and fish together. Combining both in a closed ecosystem will help to enable farmers to grow sustainable crops. The nutrient-rich waste produced by the fish becomes the food source of the plants, and in turn, the plants benefit the fish by serving as a filter for the water. They help to purify wastewater, which gets recycled back to the fish ponds. Aquaponics and hydroponics have gained favor in cities where space is a premium. Although these methods are energy intensive due to the fact that they need constant artificial lighting, they can be relied upon to provide increased yields of healthy crops. What are the benefits offered by vertical farming systems? One obvious benefit of vertical farming systems is that you can grow multiple crops even in smaller areas. A few other benefits are up to 90% less water consumption, chemical-free production, considerably low carbon emissions, and the ability to produce crops throughout the year, regardless of the weather. Vertical farms are also worker-friendly and a much safer alternative to commercial farms. This is because they don't require heavy machinery and little human intervention is needed due to the fact that most of these farms are managed and monitored remotely. As we've seen, old-school farming and advanced farming each have their own distinct set of advantages as well as disadvantages to offer. Farmers often choose the type of method to use depending on the crop that they want to grow, the amount of capital they have, and other factors. However, we also cannot ignore the emergence of new farming methods like aquaponics and hydroponics. So, which one do you think is the better option of farming, extensive or intensive? Let us know in the comment section down below, and if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, as well as hit the post notification bell so you never miss another update from us. Until next time, guys, we'll see you later.